Hello, I'm Jo Kimonade and I'm talking to John Knorr, CEO and founder of Uglii Corporation. And John, today we're talking about retail organisations in Europe.
Yep.
And how Uglii can benefit retail organisations in regard to them coming on as national partners and earning some very nice commissions.
Yes, Joe. There's two beneficiaries of what we're talking about. In Europe, we've been doing some work with Emoto, which is a Brussels-based peak organisation that deals with nation-based retailing organisations, and we've learnt from Emoto that there is about 350 billion euros of online sales in Europe.
Right.
But the retailers get very frustrated because those sales tend to be siloed, what we would call siloed. In other words, they tend to be within their own countries, or where there's an affinity between their country and another country. Then there's some spillover benefits, but they don't go very far, and they certainly don't go much further than Europe,
Right.
no matter how successful they are.
Okay.
So retailers in Europe are generally suffering from lack of penetration into some fairly lucrative markets around
Right.
the world, such as Asia, which of course is hugely growing and becoming much
the
more
US.
affluent. And the US, of course, which is just huge as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the importance of Uglii to retailers in the future will be its ability to break down language as a barrier, and its ability to give retailers the ability to define the catchments into which they want to market.
Okay.
So that's a very powerful thing, because look, I mightn't want to market into all of China. My swish European brands, my beautiful European products into the whole of China, I want to market them into the big cities, and that's what the
Right.
Uglii system gives them the facility to do.
So this is giving retailers an opportunity to get amazing market penetration that they would never have really imagined that they could do, being on a high street store, basically.
Well, but even those retailers that are have dedicated divisions to online retailing, this gives them a better tool to do their retailing,
Right.
and very affordable too.
Sure. Okay.
So Uglii is quite a revolutionary system in terms of giving retailers the power to retail wherever they think they've got a commercial advantage,
Yes.
or an emotional advantage. Chinese are very good at buying premium European brands because they want to buy them. This is a prestige thing, and
Sure.
price doesn't matter that much. I need that handbag.
Yes.
Well, you need the handbag.
I know what
you
you
know
mean.
what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's really important, and so the Uglii system gives retailers, whoever they are, the ability to penetrate markets where they think they've got a commercial advantage.
Right. Okay.
So with language, it's not as a barrier.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So that's very, very important, very powerful.
Yeah, especially in Europe.
Well, yeah, that's right. But everywhere, the ability for Uglii to provide marketing services for a retailer, even a small retailer, a dedicated specialist retailer in Europe, the ability to penetrate any market that they think that they can compete in, is of course very exciting.
Yeah, without the language barrier.
Without the language barrier, yeah.
Will this make existing online retailers less dominant now that the playing field's going to be completely level, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're raising all retailers, okay? So the little ones that have never thought or had the ability to really compete online will be able to compete online.
Sure.
But by the same token, it's making the existing online retailers much more powerful in their ability to penetrate markets that they haven't had the power to penetrate before.
Sure.
So in one sense, yes, it's making a more level playing field. In another sense, it's making the market bigger for retailers.
Rightio.
Yeah.
So we're talking on average around about 30 million businesses throughout Europe. Is that about right? 30 million places of business?
Yeah. Retailing takes up about 15% of the European economy, and that's fairly common around the world, so it would do that in Australia and the United States.
Okay. Rightio. Okay. So let's talk about commissions. As a national partner, the retail organisation will earn 45% commission from services?
Services that their members
Purchase.
that are registered in the Uglii system purchase through
Right.
the Uglii system.
Yep.
So there's a very strong cash flow for those retail organisations.
And it's enduring, isn't it? Because they'll just continue to use Uglii services, right?
Yeah. We prefer to have businesses coming into our Uglii system through industry-based organisations.
Right.
Now, the reason for that is that those industry-based organisations can help educate their member retailers about how to best use this very powerful system.
Right. Yep.
Uglii's got about 65 services in it, and some of them are appropriate for retailers and some of them are not. And some of them are very sophisticated. So if the retail organisation can help its retailers become more powerful and more sophisticated, that's going to help the retailers. It's also going to help their national economies.
Sure.
So we like organisations that bring people or businesses into the system to be industry organisations, such as retail organisations.
Okay. Each country, the retail organisation in one country can't register businesses in another country, can they? They've got to be within that country.
Their country, yeah.
Okay. So the those retail organisations as national partners, they'll have competition with credit card companies, banks, telcos, postal systems, etc., won't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a little bit of urgency in regard to getting
organised.
Because
absolutely.
a business will only register once through one vehicle as such.
One organisation. So the opportunity is not open-ended for the retail organisations. They need to get organised and they need to get as many of their retailers into the system as quickly as they can, because that's going to define their commission flows thereafter.
Right, yep.
And as you say, there's going to be plenty of competition for getting businesses registered into the system.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that we should talk about is we've been talking about Uglii as a retailing, sales, marketing machine for retailers. Now, that's one aspect of the system, and I think the flip side, the other side of the coin, is that the Uglii system is very powerful for procurement.
Sure.
And every retailer, of course, is a buyer, a big buyer of inputs into their businesses. So the importance of getting those businesses into the system is that they can improve their buying performance through the Uglii system. The Uglii system tends to bring more suppliers to a procurement event, which means there's greater competition and therefore there's greater profitability for that retailer.
Sure.
So now is the time that the retail organisations need to get organised and the retailers need to get organised to get registered in the system.
Okay.
That's very important.
Okay. So they'll be using the B2B system for inputs to their business.
Yep.
And then in 2016,
next year, yep.
Yeah, next year when B2C rolls out, they'll be in the system, up and running, familiar with everything, and then the world's their oyster.
And they'll be thinking globally.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So timing is everything, and what we're suggesting to the retail organisations is now is the time to get organised.
Right.
Okay, and don't leave it, because they will get cut out of they'll just get manoeuvred out of it by other organisations that are smarter than them.
So get in and get your piece of pie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for talking to us today, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. It's a pleasure.